I'm Freddie Pough, Director of the South Carolina Department of Juvenile Justice. I've known since around the age of 15 that I wanted a career in law enforcement. After realizing that, I was speaking with a cousin of mine who was a deputy at the sheriff's office, and he told me about a program called the Explorers. And so I went to the sheriff's office and I met with those over the Explorer program. So at the age of 16, I started working towards this moment. You know, shortly after graduating from South Carolina State, I was looking for a job. Said y'all looking for a director. Yeah. How you doing, ma'am? I'm well. I learned that the Department of Juvenile Justice was hiring. And after getting the job here at DJJ, I'll be honest with you, I really didn't realize the opportunity that I had as a juvenile correctional officer. You know, at that time, I was an aspiring police officer, and so I really just thought that this was an opportunity for me to get into law enforcement. So when I was here, almost 20 years ago, this was the Omega unit. This is the unit that I was assigned to. Things were a lot different back then. In fact, this campus was different. You would have, I think, Delta and Gamma, a few other dorms kind of in a horseshoe shape. But this particular unit was unique because this program was for the aggressive youth. And so they were self-contained. You know, they did everything in the dorm, but they had an opportunity to get on level and work themselves out of the program. You know, so when I started, my day-to-day was dealing with the aggressive youth. It was dealing with those young people who had a tough time managing themselves in general population because of their aggressive behavior. But being in this dorm, it taught me a lot. And it kind of really catapulted my career because it gave me an opportunity to kind of examine individuals' backgrounds, or kind of examine or take into account where people are coming from. And so one of the things that I kind of adapted to in my career is meeting people where they're at. And so I attribute that to my starting here at the Department of Juvenile Justice, because just like in all of our lives, we all come from different socioeconomic backgrounds. We come from different parts of the state, and sometimes we kind of get in this mindset that everyone is the same or should act the same. And a lot of people are dealing with a lot of different set of circumstances. And working in the Omega unit, it really revealed that to me, that there's some people, especially young people, who have some very unique circumstances. And being here at the Department of Juvenile Justice, it gave me an opportunity to try to help these young people get beyond those circumstances. Being in here is very nostalgic. As I look down the dorm, the wing, it actually is very reminiscent of how it looked back then. As I look back and I look around this dorm, and I think about the conversations that I had with many of the young people, trying to impart wisdom, if you will, or good values and morals into these young people. Being here at the Department of Juvenile Justice is so much more than just watching these young people. It's so much more than just being an officer or a social worker or a clinician, or even working in the physical plant. It's an opportunity to help a young person. It's an opportunity to give them that nudge in life that hopefully will put them on the right path. Thinking back over my career, there are moments when I'm kind of amazed at the path in which it took. But I think everything that I've done, from being a juvenile correctional officer to my time with adult probation and parole, 5 years at the sheriff's office, 10 years at SLED, being a lieutenant at SLED and working in the major crimes unit, and then being asked to come to the Department of Juvenile Justice as the Inspector General. I think all of that kind of prepared me for this day. I'm glad to know that I'm not a bureaucrat. I'm glad to know that, I worked my way up. I really understand what it means to be in the trenches. I've worked 12-hour shifts. I've worked, holidays. I've had to give up plans because the job called for it. And so when I can ask my team members here at the Department of Juvenile Justice to do that, it's coming from a place of, I've been there, so I understand. I'm just very fortunate to be the director here at the Department of Juvenile Justice. When confirmation took place last year in April, it was a great moment. There was a lot of emotions to receive that phone call that I received a unanimous vote from the Senate to be confirmed as the director. And so it's an opportunity that I don't take lightly. It's an opportunity that I embrace. Well, guys, keep up the good work. Keep up the good work. keep making us proud, and then I guess in July, y'all will you'll be at graduation. I tell people all the time that we have an opportunity to impact the quality of life here in South Carolina for the next 40 or 50 years. And a lot of times people will ask me, well, how is that possible? How could you possibly say that? And I'll say to them, because the young people who are here today, this very moment, within the next 5, 10 years, they're going to be mamas, they're going to be daddies, they're going to be our neighbors, they're going to be back out in the community, they're going to be building our homes, they're going to be fixing our cars, installing our heating and air units. But if we can do something here with these young people today, if we can do something to make them better, if we can make them whole, when they leave us and go back home, they become productive citizens. And so we have an opportunity, again, to make the quality of life here in South Carolina that much better. I'm Freddie Pough, Director of the South Carolina Department of Juvenile Justice, and I'm asking you to come join and help me empower our youth for the future.